This one is Port of Shadows by Marcel Carnet,
Yeah.
which is, if you couldn't tell, a French film. And it is...
Wait, tell me the French title then.
Oh, Port of Shadows? I don't know it off the top of my head. What would port be? I'm just going to look it up. Duolingo hasn't taught me port or shadows yet. I mean, Duolingo doesn't really teach me anything, but it helps me practice.
Le Quai des Brumes.
Le Quai des Brumes. Yeah. The Dock of Mists is, I guess, a more direct translation of the French title. But anyway, this movie is very French, I thought.
Yes. It's starring Jean Gabin, who we saw in The Grand Illusion.
Yeah, he's back playing a soldier again. Playing almost the same character, it feels like. A sort of jaded soldier home from war. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is sort of a proto-noir movie. It's a crime picture about people kind of living on the edge of society.
Yeah.
In the ports of shadows. Those shadowy ports.
Yeah. This movie, it feels like oh god, I was thinking of this earlier. It feels a lot like The Petrified Forest.
Yeah.
And with like a little bit of see, I was gonna write this down. It was like The Petrified Forest with the energy of another movie that we've seen, but I can't remember. But like there's something about it that feels a bit play-like. There's a lot of characters kind of sitting in rooms saying stuff. But I think the stuff they're saying is extremely compelling. Like I think that like a lot of the things that people just spout out, they're just this French ennui loaded like phrases like, you know, I only paint.
Well, there's a painter that we get introduced to fairly early who just says the most like French depressing shit, and it's the best. I love it.
It's so good because it's all so evocative.
Yeah, I'd see crime in a rose, he says. And then when he talks about his paintings, he says, on my canvas I find only hate, jealousy, murder, a cemetery.
He says he paints what he sees, and to me a swimmer has already drowned.
the best. That's this whole movie is like that vibe.
Yeah, it's so moody. I love this movie. I think it's great. It's just got a lot of like fun stuff in it, cool vibes, people saying like interesting enigmatic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. It is Petrified Forest mixed with Sunrise.
Mixed with Sunrise?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's about a night of two people falling in love, going around, going to the carnival. One of them's kind of scummy, you know?
Yeah. A little bit of like La La Land, also like kind of like French. Just Frenchness.
Outside of its Frenchness, I guess.
But also just, I feel like La La Land has that scene where there's like the annoying guy who's like trying to sell stuff, who's like tries to like worm his way onto the boat. And this feels like it has a lot of just like, there's a lot of like scummy characters in it, I guess. As befitting a sort of noirish crime movie.
Yeah, and so, you know, you said the magic word. This movie is kind of positioned as one of the early noir films. I don't really know what qualifies a noir film, but I did see the shadows of slatted window shades on people.
There you go. But I mean, like, they had those in, you know, von Stroheim movies and you know, they're old news.
Yeah.
I think like the sort of most, I guess, like established sort of ground rules for film noir as a genre, as like the film noir period, is post World War II American films influenced by European filmmakers that are about crime.
Okay, well, so this is the stuff that influenced them, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Does noir have to be American? I mean, noir is like literally a French word in this context.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, that's sort of how noir started, is like the post-war crime like melodramas. But then it is like people can
Mhm.
still make movies that are film noir now. Like anyone, and I view film noir more as like a vibe than anything else.
Right.
So
I mean,
it's
aren't there a lot of like classic noir movies that are from during the war?
yeah, there's that too. So that's why it's sort of like the rules of sort of like the classic noir period is like, all right, sure, but there were movies before that that did stuff, and there were movies after that, movies from other countries, and all
Right.
of that. So I tend to view film noir as a pretty loose definition. In which case, I think this movie absolutely qualifies.
I mean, this movie has people saying, "Dames, you're all alike," uh,
Right.
which you can't get more noir than somebody saying "dames" or "broads are all the same."
Yeah. Yeah. It's got murder in it. It's got bodies are discovered.
It's got a cute dog that follows the main
Oh,
character wherever he goes.
this has been a good 1938 has been a good year for dogs in film. Between Little
Yeah.
Rascals, Bring Up Baby, and Port of Shadows.
Oh, I was gonna mention the cat in the Little Rascals Practical Jokers thing is called Baby.
You're right. Babies is what people call cats of any size, I guess.
Or maybe it was a reference. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I
I
mean, hadn't
didn't I
even thought
didn't
of
check
that,
the
but
dates to find out.
it could easily be. Yeah.
But yeah, the dog in this movie is like, this movie starts with Jean Gabin's character like hitching a ride on a dark road with a guy driving a truck, and the guy tries to make conversation with him, and he's too full of ennui and solitude to answer many questions. But what he does do is grab the steering wheel to swerve the car out of the way so he doesn't hit a dog.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the two of them are about to fight over it, and it's just like, let's not fight. Have some
Yeah.
cigarettes.
C'est la vie. Probably the next main character after Jean is Nellie, who is, I wouldn't
Mhm.
necessarily really call her like a femme fatale. She seems kind of too
There's nothing really fatal about
right.
her.
She's not actually that dangerous. She's just caught up in dangerous happenings. But she's introduced wearing this like transparent raincoat that absolutely rules. It's the coolest shit.
I couldn't tell if it was shiny or if it was transparent, just
Both.
based on the way the black and white was.
Yeah. It's a like translucent, shiny like trench coat. It's great.
It was cool. It was kind of Blade Runner-y.
Right.
Honestly.
And it's like this movie's from 1938. I didn't think that people had like transparent
plastic.
coats. Yeah. So that's very cool. And she has this like what Godfather guy,
Guardian.
right, who's like
Yeah.
kind of a creep and also a murderer. And that's sort of a thread throughout the movie. Once again, this movie's not super plotty. It's a lot of like it is, like you said, a lot of characters either standing or sitting in rooms and smoking and like discussing how hard life is.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call it like, that description makes it sound like a bit more nebulous of a movie than it is, because there's always
There
something
is plot.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this movie could very easily like dip into just this kind of aimlessness. But I don't like, and it's just people sitting around talking. And I think the people sitting around talking is a great part of this movie, but I never felt like, I just felt like I was getting to know like the cast of characters around this kind of seedy area. Like there are characters that you familiarize yourself that where, they don't necessarily even go anywhere. Like the guy who keeps trying to get a hotel room or whatever, but like you're just kind of soaking in a vibe. I think it works very well. I love it.
Yeah. There's the gang of kind of local tough guys led by Lucien.
Tough in quotes. Yeah.
Yeah, right, because like as soon as they are confronted by anyone or anything, they fold immediately. They're the most
and
cowardly
get laughed
criminals.
at.
Yeah. But then he's doing stuff like he's cutting lines at bumper cars, which is like, who does that,
That's not nice.
As per a sort of French noirish crime movie, does not have a happy ending. Has quite a tragic ending. But I feel like if this movie ended any other way, it would feel wrong. Like this movie needs to end on this note of just like, that is life.
It all sucks.
There is no life without death.
Yeah. The person who was the painter who was speaking of death, like the painter who was spouting off like the most ennui soaked lines, he, you know, doesn't see the point in living, and so they're like the main character, like he needs some civvies, some civilian clothes. The painter goes, that guy's the same shoe size as me, I guess I'll kill myself now.
Well, because you get the impression he was probably going to do that anyway, and he does it by just swimming out into the ocean. Like,
yeah.
And he's just never heard of again, but he leaves behind all his clothes and his belongings. So then Jean, who's sort of implied, I think, to have like, he's a deserter. Like he ran away from the army. So he needs to ditch his uniform and like he needs a new identity. So he kind of takes, he takes the painter's identity and he's gonna hop another ship out of there. But Lucien, the not very tough guy, ends up shooting him in the back out of jealousy and revenge because he made him look a fool at the bumper cars.
You got to look very serious and professional while you're doing bumper cars.
Yeah, but then there's the whole thing where Nellie's been like searching for her ex this whole time, and she finds out that he was murdered by her godfather out of jealousy. And so then Jean shows up and kills the godfather, Zabel, with a brick while choir music plays on the radio, which is a very evocative scene.
That scene also is presaged by a Chekhov's box cutter.
Yeah.
Just another more conspicuous shots of meaningful items.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mentioned La La Land briefly before. This movie reminded me of that movie a bit in kind of its style and vibes, I guess, but it definitely held my attention a lot more. I think it's definitely less abstract and a kind of more focused narrative movie as opposed to just like, oh, life in a boat, what's that like? Whereas this is like, no, this is characters that like do things and have relationships with each other.
Yeah. I love the grit in this movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of like real locations out there on like industrial ports and cranes and foggy boats and stuff. I dug it.
Yeah. I saw on Letterboxd that you gave this 3.5 stars. I gave it 4.5.
Whoa!
I liked it a lot. And I guess we can get into favorites then. That was my favorite of this year. What was yours?
Your favorite? I think my favorite was Bring Up Baby. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Bring Up Baby would be my favorite if I wasn't so stressed out.
Thing is, like, I don't think it is. The characters in it are always very stressed out, but I was always kind of delighted by how stressed out they were becoming, as opposed to getting stressed myself.
Right.
But it's definitely, it's a very manic film for sure. But I'm excited to see more like manic Howard Hawks stuff, and I'm excited to see more sort of dark, moody French crime stuff.
I know we're definitely going to have to make sure to put some emphasis on European film as we get into the Hayes era further.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Hollywood is blowing up so much that we gotta keep ourselves balanced a little bit.
I think my position on the Hayes Code is that it is a bit overblown, exactly like how much it destroyed cinema, because
I think, and once we get to some like American noir movies, I'm get to talk about this more too, of how like they weren't allowed to be as like explicit about certain things, but it made people come up with more creative workarounds for stuff. And so there's just these like incredibly innuendo drenched dialogue scenes in some noir movies that are great because they're like just well written. And if they weren't forced to do that by the Hays Code, those might not have existed, you know?
Yeah. But regardless, it's nice to have a contrast with some European movies.
Yeah. Yeah.